Okay. Hey everybody, it's Tara Green here of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. I am Agent 129. Okay. There's some catalog missing here. Okay. I'm going to wait a few minutes for people to come on, and just let me know where you're from. It says I'm live, but I'm not seeing myself live. Okay, I'll just wait a second. Why am I not showing up? I have been having a bit of trouble in the last while getting on live here. I don't really know what it is. Okay, I'm going to wait a second to see if people can see me here. I'm not really sure what the glitch is. Okay, it says there's 2 people. It says I have to close some applications. Okay. So if you're there, if you're out there, come and say hi. I'm going to wait a few minutes until people come on. I'm Tara Green, Agent 129 of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. And I am, sorry, I don't want to do that either. Okay, can you see me? I can't see people here for some reason. So you got to come on and say hi. Usually I see people in the comments. So please say hi. Let me know where you're from. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why you're not seeing me there. Okay, I'm not seeing myself. Okay. Can people see me? Please come on and say hi. It says there's 3 viewers. Should be more. Usually there's lots of people who come on this. And it is January 31st. And I'm going to do February's. I'm going to present February's astrology. You know, we're in a very, very unique, very, very rare, it's a life-changing month for everyone on planet Earth. Okay, so again, I'm going to wait a few minutes till people come on. Please say hi and let me know that you're there so I can see you. For some reason, usually I do see you. I'm looking on my phone here, but I'm not seeing that live. So, okay, I'll wait a few minutes again. Hi, I'm Tara Green, Agent 129 of Cosmic Intelligence Agency, welcoming you here for February's astrology and live tarot card preview. Okay, again, I'm going to wait a few minutes till people come on. Say hi, let me know you can hear me, you can see me. I'm seeing it there, but everybody's being shy. Don't be shy. Make a comment. I'm inviting your comments. Let me know where you're from. Cosmic Intelligence Agency is centered in Melbourne, Australia, started in Melbourne, Australia over 20 years ago. And there's a group. Okay, there you are. Hi, Anita. Come and say hi. Let me know where you are in the world. I'm going to wait till more people come on and save my breath and my energy for that. Yeah, I'm up in Toronto, Canada, where it's absolutely freezing up here. It's minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. There was 4 feet of snow here the other day. Lots of places got snowed in the southern states too that don't usually get this kind of cold. So I just noticed something that since Neptune entered Aries to stay Monday, you know, the market crashed. Whoops, what else happened? Oh, I just dropped my cards. Hang on a second. Gold went up to a peak and then crashed, and silver and the Bitcoin market as well. So if you follow that kind of stuff, and I'm kind of interested in it, and you know, it's very Aquarian. We can't forget Pluto and Aquarius as well. Yeah, come on and say hi. I'm just going to chit chat here a little bit about the current state of affairs and talk about tomorrow, for example, February the 1st. If you're in the other part of the world, it is already much later. You're already on February the 1st, and it is one of the cross-quarter days of the year called Imbolc. And so it's an ancient pagan celebration, Imbolc. We're halfway between the December winter solstice and spring already, right? And looking forward to spring here. Of course, in the other part of the world, down under, it is reverse, and they've had incredible heat waves and fires in Melbourne, Australia. Hi from Heidi from California. Okay, yeah, please come on and say hi. So I'm wondering how everybody's doing here, because We've never been here before, so we have to really all hang tight here and support each other as we're going into this brave new world, a brand new, real great reset, let's call it, this month. So if you haven't been here before, I will explain how this segment works. Hi from Australia. I'm going to talk about the basic astrology aspects. Sometimes this is longer or shorter. I've got my notes here. So it's kind of like an astro newscast. I'm going to read the major astrological events and kind of riff on that. And then I've got my tarot cards. So because we are going into this incredibly new age, February 20th, I've been talking about this date for a long time, as Saturn, the planet of reality, of karma, limitations, time, father time, maturity, rules Capricorn and Aquarius traditionally, meets up with Neptune at 0 degrees and change on February the 20th. That hasn't happened in over 6,000 years. So this is an incredibly historic moment, an incredible initiation. We're going into this fire era, fire and air era. You know, the air era began when Jupiter and Saturn came together December 21st, 2020. I'm just going to move my smudge here. To initiate that, they came together as they do every 20 years for the next basically 200 years, air. And now Saturn and Neptune in fire, and then Gemini will also later in April Uranus will enter Gemini to stay for the next 7 years. So all fire and air elements, right? Hi there. Hi, Karen. An old friend of mine, Karen. So all of the fire signs, you're going to get ready to get super heated, and you know, all the Pisces people, they're going to be in a whole new era. They are already in a whole new era, and then Saturn will enter Aries on February 13th, 14th, depending where you are. Okay, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So we start eclipse season this month, the first of 4 eclipses this year. So let me just go a little overview here for February, and then I'll go through the details, and then I will pull my tarot cards. So I'm using, this is my Thoth tarot. I use mainly all the major arcana, 22 major arcana, and a couple of extras just to keep it interesting. And then I'm going to use this in-between tarot, as we are kind of in an in-between limbo, kind of liminal state here. This is called the in-between tarot, and it was just like a little sample tarot deck that I was sent belonging to a tarot association years ago. Okay, so let's get down to it. So we're in the second month. Tomorrow, or it's already tomorrow, it's already February the 1st over there on the other side of the world. It is, again, a cross-quarter celebration. We're marking one half the way between winter and spring in the Northern Hemisphere and the other way around. So it's a time of celebration. There is going to be the first eclipse this year. It's a solar eclipse, February 17th at 28 Aquarius. At the last, that's 28 plus change is the 29th, the anaretic, the critical degree, for a number of reasons. Uranus stations direct on February the 3rd. Mercury turns retrograde this month too, February 25th or 26th. Venus enters Pisces February 10th, where she is exalted. February 13th, 14th, Saturn enters Aries. February 20th, the biggest day of our lifetimes again. So let me just break all this down a little bit more. The full moon on the 1st as well. 13 Leo, 4 minutes opposite Mars and Pluto. Now, we already had this very heavy Sun, Mars, Pluto conjunctions earlier this month, and now the full moon might bring incidents that were starting then. I was predicting some war starting. We're seeing that might happen with Iran and the US. So very intense times. It's like a crucible. We're all being crushed in this atomic soul crushing, renewing energy. Hi from Pennsylvania. Groundhog Day, for those who celebrate February 2nd, you can watch that wonderful movie, I Got You, Babe. And Uranus turns direct at 27 degrees, 28 Taurus, conjunct Algol, the fiercest star in the sky, which is Medusa's head, which can bring some nasty surprises and shockwaves to the bull market. That's already been happening. Crypto real estate market, that's at 6:33 p.m. PST, 9:33 p.m. EDT, February the 4th at 2:33 a.m. GMT. I'm going through all the time zones. It's been retro since September the 6th, 2025 at 1 degree, 28 Gemini. So you might want to look back at what you've been overhauling or reinventing, or, you know, all those Uranian, Aquarian revolutionizing, kind of going back to look at the plans since then, so September 6th, and it re-entered Taurus November the 7th, but it's going to take until May 22nd until it retakes its retro degree. So it's going to take some time until we really move forward with our renewed revolution freedom plans, okay? On February 5th, Mercury squares Uranus. Again, very mercurial, change, chaos, expect the unexpected, have plan B and C, 4:14 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 7:14 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. February the 6th at 6:12 a.m. GMT. And on the 5th, the Sun quincunxes Jupiter. I love quincunx, that word. It means two planets, any two planets, 150 degrees apart, 5 signs apart, where they literally cannot see each other. Jupiter in Cancer, of course, at 8:09 a.m. PDT, 11:09 a.m. EDT, 4:09 p.m. GMT. You know, we can always use all of these aspects in the most positive ways, right? So Sun in conjunct Jupiter, which is like the good fortune energy, is like, where am I in my blind spot where I can come up with more emotional wealth and more abundance? You know, Jupiter in Cancer is exalted still. February the 6th, Mercury enters Pisces. So Mercury going from its detached, airy state into emotional, sensitive, much more psychic. You know, we were in all that water planets, and then they moved into Capricorn, and then they all moved into Aquarius. Now they're moving back into water. Mercury enters Pisces again, 2:48 p.m. PDT, 5:48 p.m. EDT, 10:48 p.m. GMT, until April the 14th. Now that's a very long time for Mercury to be in Pisces, because it's going to be retrograde at the end of this month. So Mercury in Pisces is, again, a good time. It's interesting because it's like we're going back to deal with that Pisces energy still, getting back to the last Saturn still in Pisces, working with the last of the karmic, releasing. Lots of people have been doing a lot of ancestral work, really paying attention to the intuition, our dreams, our creativity, really until that February 20th, bango, brand new birth date. On February the 8th, Venus in Aquarius squares Uranus. Again, very Uranian energy here, unpredictable, chaotic. You know, life is all about change. Embrace the change. Uranus is still stationary, basically not moving. 1:49 a.m. PDT, 4:49 a.m. EDT, 9:49 a.m. GMT. It's good for internet dating. You know, Venus square Uranus. Oh, there could be kind of a hard one as well. But it's good for being detached about money. Maybe you want to look at your money situation, your financial situation, and get more detached about love. Again, money markets, crypto shakeups, all of that stuff. On February the 10th, Venus also enters Pisces. So again, we're getting much more Piscean there. 2:19 a.m. PDT, 5:19 a.m. EDT, 10:19 a.m. GMT, until March the 6th. So again, immerse yourself in this last Pisces, you know, the age, the energy we've been in since 2011. It might be a fond farewell, a good time to review, to do some journaling, go over your dream journals, dream healing time, to get ready for this whole new energy. On February 12th, Mars quincunxes Jupiter. Again, another kind of repeat of the same kind of aspect. 5:15 p.m. PDT, 8:15 p.m. EDT, February 13th at 1:15 a.m. GMT. And then Saturn enters Aries February 13th to stay until April the 12th, 2028. So the next 2 years plus at 4:11 p.m. PDT, 7:11 p.m. EDT. And on February the 14th, on Valentine's Day, for people over in east of us there at 12:11 a.m. GMT and the rest of the world. So Saturn is weak in Aries because it rules Libra. So when planets are opposite the sign they rule, they're considered to be weak and detriment. So it doesn't have as much toughness or hardness in a way, which can be a good thing in a way. And I think Saturn in Aries is a good thing in general because it kind of holds back that Aryan impulsive renegade kind of energy, and that wildfire spontaneity, right? Now, the last time Saturn was in Aries was in 1996 to 1999, 1967 to 1969. That was in the Peace, Love, Woodstock, Summer of Love era. 1937 to 1940. Those were also kind of critical years. On the 15th, the Sun squares Uranus at 9:02 p.m. PDT. On the 16th at 12 6:02 a.m. EDT and at 5:02 a.m. GMT. That's shocking revelations. Again, crypto overhaul, revolution, big protests in the world. Sun square units, shocking. It could be major solar flares as well. It could be a big slam that knocks out the whole internet, right? Because if you've been following Stefan Burns, he's a geophysicist who's become super popular on YouTube, talks about the solar flares and what it means. And we could have another Carrington event, which is when the new telegraph system that was built across the US got totally burnt to a crisp by a huge solar flare. So maybe back up your computers. Also, sun square Uranus is like, yeah, computer stuff, hacking, things like that. On the 17th of February, the annular solar eclipse, not a total one, and it's Chinese New Year, initiates the year of the horse. That's a big deal for China, who always watched eclipses for thousands of years. They have major records, has their fire horse. Again, the fire element here. The annual solar eclipse is at 4:01 a.m. PDT, 7:01 a.m. EDT, 12:01 a.m. GMT. The eclipse is not visible except for over the Antarctic. So when eclipses are not visible, they're not really having the same effect. So it's not as like when that eclipse went across America or wherever it crosses. If you're in the eclipse shadow, those areas are the most effective. So maybe Antarctica reveals whatever aliens coming out of it, all that stuff. Some new element comes up there. All right. So 28 Aquarius, 50 minutes. It is critical at the very last degree of Aquarius, basically, and opposite the royal star Regulus and on Mr. Trump's Mars in his ascendant. So a lot of astrologers are predicting he's going to get blacked out, like an eclipse. Okay. We'll see. It's part of Saros cycle 121. Eclipses go in major cycles every 18 plus years. So the last eclipse in this cycle, if you want to look back at what and how it affected you back then, was February 7th, 2008. Now, 2008, of course, was when the subprime mortgage happened. So we can kind of get a little gist of that. January 26, 1990, which was also a market crash time. I remember that one. That was a big crash, 1990, after that late 80s peak. January the 16th, 1972, I believe also that's around the time that Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard, somewhere around there. January the 5th, 1954. December 25th, 1935, that was a critical time, Hitler rising. And December 14th, 1917, which was during the First World War. February 18th, it's Pisces season, 7:52 a.m. PDT, 10:52 a.m. EDT, 3:52 p.m. GMT. Things are more emotional with the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter in water signs. So again, we're bathing, we're swimming, we're overwhelmed, we're super sensitized. But February 20th, this is it. This is the big boom, bang initiation, right? Lift off, all systems go. 8:52 a.m. PDT, 11:52 a.m. EDT, 4:52 p.m. GMT, the Big Bang degree. Okay, so a huge initiation for humanity. Everything is lit. Okay, Saturn and Neptune meeting at 0 degrees, 44 minutes for the first time since 4,361 BC, and that's 6,387 years ago. I believe it's the Leo King I first heard say that was in line with the time historically that the Jews left Egypt. So it's kind of like a full circle for the Jewish people. Take that as you will. For Israel, the Israelites, February 22nd. So no, I just want to go back and talk about this for a second. First degree of the Zodiac, again, a big birth for everybody. So you want to look at where 0 degrees of Aries is in your chart. Neptune is going to be in Aries for the next 13 years. So just as we're just finishing a 15-year cycle of Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, initiating us into the fake news and viruses and oil and everything else. Now, all of those things that Neptune rules, Hollywood, no more glamour is what I'm predicting. You want to combine the energy of Saturn, Neptune. So it's like build your own dream. What you imagine is real. I think people are going to come to a big conscious realization that we can create through our imagination. It's a number 1 year, a magician year in the tarot, what we want. And the more collectively we bring our focus, it feels like laser vision, that red energy, blood, it's the warrior. It's the time to be the spiritual warrior. Somebody mentioned the spiritual masculine energy coming in here. What are we fighting for? There's that famous song by, what's her name? Marianne Faithfull. What are we fighting for is exactly, are we fighting for our dreams? Are we fighting for a new world? All of that energy, and really things will be very energized, and there will be no patience, headstrong, impulsive. You got to just run into that fire. So really it feels like the 5 alarm fire for a lot of people who've been asleep since 2011. And I think it's a good thing. So all fire signs, again, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, you got to go. And it will pick up. If you don't have much fire and air in your chart, you're going to get an introduction to how those elements work. It is also my daughter's birthday. And also I'm very fiery and airy myself. On February 22nd, special day, Venus trine Jupiter, one of the loveliest days of the year. Very positive aspect, nice intro. 12:02 p.m. PST, 3:02 p.m. EST, 8:02 p.m. GMT. Those are the benefics working in the most positive energy. So you want to put out some positive energy, because like those 3 days, February 17th to the 20th, intense under the shadow of the eclipse. Now, some people say an eclipse shadow starts 2 weeks before, which would be the full moon tomorrow. I think it's not going to be as intense because we won't see that eclipse. Actually, it's just the degree is important. On the 25th, never a dull moment, Mercury turns retrograde, 10:48 p.m. PDT. On the 26th at 1:48 a.m. EDT, 6:48 a.m. GMT at 22 degrees, 34 minutes. Of Pisces until March the 20th, right on the spring equinox at 8 degrees 31 Pisces when it stations. So again, with Mercury retrograde in Pisces, is it time to recollect? We've just kind of been born, boom, with that Aries energy, but we're still kind of recollecting, and really it will take until, I believe, the equinox, which is on the 20th, when the sun hits that degree, to really alight. So we're kind of going to be in this liminal, getting used to that new energy for a little while. Yeah, on the 27th, Mars squares Uranus. All the aspects are to Uranus. You notice all February. 8:21 a.m. PDT, 11:21 a.m. EDT, and 4:21 p.m. GMT at 27 plus degrees. Taurus. Uranus is at 27 Taurus. Again, that very powerful degree Algol. So lots of revenge. Okay, I would say in the air. February 27th, Mercury conjuncts Venus in Pisces. That's a really nice energy. It's kind of like a sort of cazimi. 9:35 p.m. PST on the 28th at 12:35 a.m. EST at 5:35 a.m. GMT. So you want to use that energy. It's just like a cazimi when planets come together, conjunction Mercury. Retrograde, even retrograde, is about recollecting or bringing back or invoking some kind of beautiful Venus memory. It feels very healing to me as well. Okay, so that's the major aspects for February. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my special Herkimer diamond crystal here, and I'm going to clear that. I'm going to resmudge also as well. So if you have been here before, what I'm going to do is just focus in on the cards, and I kind of call in my higher self. I'm going to smudge those cards. And I'm going to first use this deck, the Thoth Tarot deck. Okay, hang on a second. It's going to get a little too smoky here. Hold on. Got to put that out. Okay, so Aries. Now, Aries people, again, you're going to take all of this energy, Saturn, Neptune, right? If you're born, again, on this first day of spring, which can be the 20th, the 21st, sometimes even the 22nd, you get, bam, gobsmacked. Okay, so Aries people, let's see what you get here. Okay. Now this card here, I do use the 22 major arcana. And this is a special card. There are 10 spheres on the Tree of Life, which is what the tarot is related to spiritually. And this is an extra one. This is the 11th one. So for people who are into master numbers, this is like the 11th, the most mystical master number. It is called Da'at, and it's an invisible Sephiro that kind of circles. It's a bridge between what we can know as the Godhead, let's put it that way, and your higher self, which is what the whole purpose of the tarot is to connect with your higher self. So I like to call it the calling card from your holy guardian angel. So Aries people, getting all this energy. You have to keep connected to your higher self to know where to act, how to act, where to apply the fire. Okay, that's very special and very positive, actually, energy. Okay, but let's give you an extra card, a little helping card here. You get temptation. Okay, so temptation, can you see this card here? Temptation in this deck. I suppose it's like the devil. Yeah, be careful how you use your power. You know, Aries in the tarot is the Emperor, number 4, power king. Be careful not to abuse it, you know, not to go raging, become a raging berserker. That would be a very Aries out of control energy, you know. It's like suddenly all the anger, rage that's been held down with Neptune in Pisces goes, it's like a big atomic explosion, right? So be careful. So we're going to pray for the people in power not to lose that. Okay. So let's deal with Taurus now. Okay. So Taurus peeps, again, people born in the last few days, Taurus are still got Uranus to deal with there for the last little while until it enters Aries, and you get the wishing card. So again, I do use a couple of extra cards here just to keep it interesting. Not that it isn't anyway, but the Knight of Cups is happiness. It's the wishing card. And so I get to be your fairy godmother, people, Taurus sun, moon, rising, whatever you have in Taurus, and give you 9 wishes. So it's really important what you wish for right now. Now, you know, Uranus and Taurus is kind of like be the change you want to see in the world. You know that song. So sending blessings out to the world. It's not about acquiring Lamborghinis or, you know, hoarding more gold. It's about sending your innate, sensual, earthy, beautiful energy, creative energy out into the world for healing the earth. Let's put it that way. Okay. All right. Okay. And let's see what Taurus has also. Taurus, North Borneo. Wow. Okay. Welcome. You get balance here. Okay. So balancing what you wish for. Again, balancing your power, balancing your energy. You're under a lot of pressure. Okay. A lot of pressure on that Uranus at those last degrees, you know what I mean? Like finishing off what it started in 2018. You know, lots of things are coming to a close and lots of things are being born, right? So it's kind of a crucible. It's kind of like turning, you know, charcoal into diamonds. Let's put it that way, right? Okay. So balance. So, okay. Can Taurus stay balanced? I think so. All right. So let's deal with Gemini. Now, Geminis, you have to get ready also for Uranus coming into your sign this year for 7 years. So let's see what you got. Okay. You get the Tower. Now, this is Mars itself. So Gemini, you got to wake up. This is a big wake-up call. This is like shaking out your situation. It's like shaking the tree down, you know, because Mars is like the big wake up, bam. It's like getting struck by lightning. So the ego, your false ego, the false pretenses, the not self, the one you've built up just to kind of be social, that's got to fall apart for something new to come in, because it can be really exciting for Geminis to totally revolutionize themselves. Okay. And very exciting because, you know, Gemini and Aquarius, Uranus, and Pluto are going to be this nice trine for a while. So this is very exciting, breakthrough, inventive, pioneering energy. Big wake-up call for Geminis. Okay. Geminis can be really powerful people. They're the excellent communicators, marketers, intelligence, you know, in the world. Okay, so you get Tantra. Okay, and this is also as a card of balance, balancing your sexual and your spiritual energy, Gemini. You know, Gemini is about that duality, and this universe works on duality, so you have to keep that balanced and know, again, how to use that power. All right, so Cancer. So again, Cancerians are still in their best year in 12. They get a kind of lead over from Jupiter in Cancer from 2025 into 2026. All right, and you get the High Priestess here. Now, she is water, she is the moon, she is about paying attention to your intuition, she's about seeing both sides, she's a revelation, she holds the veil between the worlds. So something, you know, Jupiter's still retrograde, something that you haven't seen gets revealed on a very deep emotional level. Again, could be around the full moon tomorrow on the 1st for you. Listen to your intuition, you know, and you have the strength to keep going, to go deeper, to really cross the desert, like a camel. That's one of the animals related to the high priestess. So understand that you are standing at a threshold, and maintaining that balance is what psychologist Carl Jung said is the great work, right? Okay, so, all right, so let's give you an extra card as well. Cancerians, let's see what you get. You get the aftermath. So after this big explosion, which I think everybody's going to be exposed to, it's the rainbow. And the rainbow is always a sign of blessing. So even if some explosive family secret skeletons, something comes up, some inner child work comes up on a deeper level, it's still going to be good. It'll be the bridge to help to get you to the other side. Okay. All right. So Leos. Now Leos also, you have to get ready later this year. When Jupiter enters Leo, it's going to be Leo's time. So there's going to be more irons in the fire. Very literally, iron is Aries metal. Okay. And you get the universe, Leo. So again, I know you like to conquer the world, be the kings and queens, but this is about, okay, I've learned all the lessons I needed to learn on this dimension, on this plane. But this is very practical. This is Saturn. It is the universe or the world. It indicates you're finishing up a karmic cycle, okay? And you got to come back and get back down to earth and pay your taxes and get to work and do the dirty laundry and all that stuff. So see it as a time of completion for yourself, Leo, again, to prepare for you really taking the stage, which you love. Okay. So Leo, let's give you an extra card there. Hi from Atlanta. Trepidation. This is an interesting one. Again, it's kind of a card of between worlds. There's like a mermaid, and all mermaids represent the unconscious, like Starbucks chose that image of the unconscious. So you're still in between worlds, let's put it that way. So you're not really ready to step back into the world yet. And this can be a very important point. It's kind of like we're all in this state, like we're kind of the baby coming down the birth canal. We're in the process of all collectively being born. So we're not really sure where we're going. So there may be a sense of hesitation, which might be a good thing. Actually, trepidation can be a good thing. Our intuition, our instincts usually tell us when something is safe or not. So maybe it's not safe to do that thing yet. Okay, so Virgos. Let's see, Virgos, what you got here. Again, the earth signs and the water signs are now going to be in a different stage. All right, and you get the card of Leo here. Okay, now in the tarot, there's the cards of strength and the cards of balance or justice are interpolated. So in this deck, it's 11. In most decks, it's 8. You can see it's very clearly Leo. So for Virgos, it's saying you need to have courage. You need to be ready also to take your position in the world, to really open your heart. Leo is all about the heart. It's about the inner child. It's about play. So Virgos, you've been having a hard time for a long time, and there will be eclipses in Virgo still this year, Virgo Pisces. But you want to play more. You want to step up. You want to have courage. You want to have your confidence. So do whatever it is that brings you confidence now. Right. So Virgos, let's also give you an extra card here. Get turmoil. And so it's in between justice and the hangman. You can see that this is the in-between tarot. So it's talking about a stage between one to the other. It's a very clever idea, actually. So there is this sort of sense of turmoil. Things are not really balanced yet. And the hangman is about surrender. So again, this is, I think, a stage that you have to go through before you get to your power, your strength, and your courage, and your daring, and wearing your heart on your sleeve. Okay, there we go. All right, so Libra. So Libra being an air sign, if you're born right in the beginning of Libra, you're going to benefit from the Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in early Gemini. You get the lovers, Libra. Now, this is, of course, a topic that Libras all love. They love to be in relationships. So this is Gemini energy, again, tying into the big changes that are going to come as Uranus re-enters Gemini to stay for the next number of years. So could be a change in your relationships, could be new people coming into your life. It could be, with all these energy, new beginnings, again, new creativity, New choices coming into your life, Libra, right? Okay. All right. So let's give you an extra card here. New partnerships, new marketing techniques, new ways of selling yourself. All right. And you get prophecy. Prophecy is in between the hangman and death. Okay, that's very interesting. So somewhere in between the choices of the lovers, because it's about whether to be related or relatable or not, or to be alone, you get the gift of prophecy. Very interesting. So thinking, well, not thinking, it's about intuiting what is the right thing. It's always this feeling nature that has to be the balance. You know, Gemini is really ultimately about balance. Okay, like all the air signs are dualistic. All right, so Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio, let's see what Scorpio's got. Now, because Mars rules Aries, it also rules Scorpio. Traditionally, I use both rulerships. So Scorpios are going to be strongly impacted by the Aries energy here. You get the star. So again, this is Aquarius. Now, Aquarius squares Scorpio, but this is about taking flight to a new higher dimension in your life, Scorpio, through this, I think, martial overall Aries, Neptune, Saturn energy. Your mind can go wherever you want to go right now. This is about breaking the mold, breaking out of whatever's been holding you back, being the star of your life, really not being shy to shine bright in the world. You always like to be in the dark, kind of, but this is about coming out of the shrouds, coming out of the crypt, and really showing the world who you are. I think that's a really positive, really exciting energy, actually. All right. So Scorpio, you get an extra card here as well. Okay, so this is in between the Lovers and the Chariot. It's called Purpose. So finding what that purpose is, what is your starring role and what the purpose is. Some people have a lot of trouble knowing what they really want, what their passion really is. So this is a good time to reassess that, you know, what really motivates you. What is my purpose, right? Again, Pluto and Aquarius is definitely going to ask everybody that. What's my sole purpose? All right. So Sagittarius. Okay, so all you fellow Sagittarians out there, Leos, we're all pretty excited about all this Aries firing up energy. All right, so Sagittarius, you get the Hierophant. Now, I believe that all this serious Saturn maturity elders, like all the TikTok and sort of newbie astrologers, tarot readers, psychics, are going to kind of go by the wayside here. And really serious orators, people who speak their truth, who really embody what they know, their philosophy, their belief systems, are really going to be taken seriously here. The Hierophant is the Pope. Now, one of the meanings of Saturn conjunct Neptune is be your own Pope, be your own guru, you know, no more false gurus. It's like really tapping into what you know. And it comes through the body, though, okay? Even though we're moving into this fire air, the body, we're all embodied. We have to still embrace being in the physical plane. It might be a lot more work to do that. And it's about speaking your truth, opening the throat chakra, right, as well. So this is Taurus energy. Taurus and Sagittarius don't really see each other. They're in, you know, they're 5 degrees apart, right? So maybe this is, again, a blind spot, a place where you need to really take a stand to speak the truth, you know, which Sagittarius is all about. This is going to fire up Sagittarians to be brutally honest and be the leaders, you know, and make waves with their voices. Okay. All right. Position of power, I would say. Okay, so Sagittarius, let's see what else you get here. So in between the Magician and the High Priestess, between number 1 and number 2, it's a sliding door. So really, if you know the Tree of Life and where this 10 Sephiro are on the Tree of Life, number 1 and number 2 are like the balance, really at the archetypal top of the level here. So for Sagittarius, it's like, you know, being able to manipulate, it feels like a little Egyptian dance there, between the Magician, the brand new ideas, and the intuition. So the intellect and the intuition, as always. Okay, so Capricorns. Now Saturn going into Aries for Capricorns is a square and 90-degree aspect. So it could be quite challenging for them to fire up in a new way. And they get the Fool. So Capricorn zeroed is number 22 as well. It's a master number. This is the symbol of enlightenment in the tarot. So for Capricorns, it's a brand new ball game here. Everything is new. that Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries puts you on a whole new footing. You have to be fully in the moment like a child. So whatever it is you've known, you have to put that in the back burner and act like I've got amnesia and I'm in a brave new world here and I have to figure out how to operate with firepower. Okay. Get into that rocket ship and go. Okay. So it's going to be much more spontaneous. It's going to be much more like action oriented, be the superhero, and trust. The key about the Fool is about being trusting and innocent and living fully in the moment. So anything can happen, Capricorn. All right. So let's see. Let's give Capricorns another card here. So in between the Empress and the Emperor, between the Venus and Mars, the lovers, is adolescence. So you get to be kind of like a kid. Again, this very much about Capricorn stepping in. You know, Capricorn Saturn rules maturity, but in a way the cards are saying Capricorns are going to go back to being like absolute babies again, which is kind of really interesting. Back to the blank board here. Being like a kid, very much being like a kid, and like sort of maybe forgetting what you thought you knew, which is also kind of a shamanic teaching, you know. Okay, so Aquarius. So let's see what Aquariuses get here. They get justice. So again, in this card, it is number 8. It's usually 11 in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but it is definitely Libra energy. So again, that harmonious partnerships. Aquarius is all about partnerships and organizations and networking, balance here. Being the peacemaker. You know, Aquarius is all about rebellion. There's going to be lots of protests, rebellion, freedom, protests, but we have to learn to make peace. So what do you have to make peace with in your life, Aquarius? You know, again, we're at the cusp of a very big new world, right? A brave new world, very literally. What's your place in this? How are you going to find balance in this? You know, what, and Aquarians do have a lot to bring to the table at this time as well. Okay, let's give Aquarius an extra card here as well. I don't see people making too many comments. Don't be shy. Okay. So in between Strength and the Hermit. Strength is, again, 8. This is a traditional rulership. And 9, the Hermit. It's the inner guide. I always think this looks like David Bowie here from Labyrinth here somehow. So Aquarius, the inner guide. Again, the inner guide has to be what brings balance, which brings peace, which brings the inner dialogue into completion, the middle path here. Okay. So again, listening to your inner self. Okay. All right. So now Pisces. So Pisces, you have to say goodbye to Saturn, this long journey that you've been through. Your Neptune's already giving you a bit of a taste of the new. So let's see what we get. And you get the Emperor. Okay, this is Aries energy. So Pisces, you're going to have to learn to jump out of the water and into the frying pan very much. So you got to be brave. This is the king. This is the emperor. You got to be the first in command. You have to be your own boss. This is very much, we're going into a big entrepreneurial era right now. It's also about working with the 4 elements, fire, earth, air, water. In the West, we use those 4 elements that our bodies are made up of. So again, initiating your own power, coming out from the shadows, from the darkness, coming out full blown into the world. Okay, so courage, daring, strength, your forefathers, I would say. You have to be ready to be a soldier. And I thought about that Sade song, Soldier of Love. That's very much a Saturn Neptune thing. Okay, all right, so coming into your power, powering up. Yeah, like eating fiery foods. You know, in Chinese and in Ayurvedic, they talk about fire. So you might want to start eating more fiery things, spicy, and wearing red. Everybody's going to be wearing red. Now, that's very Chinese as well, right? All right, so for you, in between Judgment, which is 20, and the Universe, which is 21, you get the Ascent. So Pisces, you're going to ascend. And I know a lot of New Age people are talking about this era as ascending into 5D, which means working from the heart, which is Leo energy, by the way. So Pisces, you got to be ready to launch like a big rocket, okay? Fireworks, very big, very explosive, very cosmic, very orgasmic, actually, right? So that's a really powerful positive. Everything's going to be lit, folks. I hope it's not going to be too literal, too many fires, things like that, of course. So I want to thank you all for being here. Uh, leave me your comments and I will respond to them. And if you want to get in touch with me for a personal reading about how these energies, big energies, are going to affect you, it's still early in 2026. I have some specials on if you want to get in touch with me at tarottarot.com. Join the Cosmic Intelligence Agency if you already haven't. They have wonderful workshops and things going on all the time. I'm sure there's probably going to be a big equinox thing. I haven't spoken to Yulia to find out about that, but of course, because it's going to be such a big equinox, it's astrology day on that too. So I'm off to Mexico actually for the month, and I will see how my internet is there to bring you the next March astrology tarot. So wishing you all the best blessings as we all get birth together into the new. All right. Speak to you again soon. All right. Blessings to you all. Thank you for being here.